Alright everyone, I don't think I videotaped this part. One leg is done. I might do a teeny bit of... No, I probably won't. All I'm going to do to this from here is some weathering. I'm not going to do any painting, nothing else beyond that. I did order a decal set for this, so it is not going to be the standard ordinary stickers, because those stickers, I just don't like the look of them. I might use one or two of the stickers, but for the most part, no. This leg is done. I'm going to start building the other leg. The only thing that I had trouble with, and I didn't understand it in the directions, is this joint right here. This cover for the joint right here, I didn't catch and put on here until after the leg was together. The directions weren't incredibly clear on that, and it's partially because I don't speak Japanese. But let me get the other leg done, because I think once the legs are done, this thing's going to go together fairly quickly. I'll be back in a bit. If I have any trouble, I'll stop and show you along the way. Alright? And I really like how this spring came out right here, because as you bend the leg, you can see the spring bends with it. And that's why they used a spring there. Alright, I've also been told by more than one person, be very careful with these. The inner frame isn't as strong as you think it is, and it can break. So I'm going to be very careful when I flex the joints and stuff from here out. Alright, slowly, don't force, don't grab it and just start yanking it around. It won't hold up for it. Alright, back in a little while. Taking a good hard look at the sprue that has all the molded in joints and stuff. Some people told me to look at the hands. I can see 3 ball joints molded into that hand. Okay, let me lay it down flat. What I ought to do, and I'm going to shift locations, is go over here, since this is a piece that's black, put on a white background so we can see it just a little bit better. We just don't have good lighting here, not as I'd like. Okay, now if you look at those hands, you can see some ball joints in there. And the same is true of a few other spots. Okay? Alright. Now, taking a look at this sprue, I'm going to move back where I was because the lighting's better. It really is. Taking a look at this sprue. Okay? One, the runner's square. It is not round. And 2, that's ABS plastic. Here's another ABS plastic sprue. And you'll notice that the runner is round on it and not square. There they are side by side. This one is shiny and glossy, and this one is not so shiny and glossy. And when you look at the edge of the runner, it has like a spiral pattern in it for some reason. Okay? And the back looks very different. And here's where you can see it's ABS. It says it's ABS PP on the back. Bandai 2010. So this is one of the older. This is a Generation 1 apparently. And it says Advanced MS Joint 2 on here. Okay. This one here, you can see it says ABS on it. Pretty plain. Real grade 144. They labeled their sprues pretty well. They got our production numbers on there too. But looking at it, there is definitely some distinct differences between them. Some people in the comments theorized that this thing here is being 3D printed. I guess it's possible, but there's just some tiny ball joints in here. And there's a bending joint right here in the middle of this thing. Okay, I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to play with it a little. And there's the arms right there. And there's some joints in the middle of those arms so they can bend too. And the torso can spin and all sorts of other stuff. There's definitely some stuff going on in here. Some really interesting technology in making this. Anyhow, I am going to get back to work. I just wanted to stop and take a second and look at this and talk about that, because again, people were saying this has to be 3D printed, and I guess it's possible. It is ABS plastic, and it doesn't quite have the same feel as this. This feels stiffer than this does, and they might be able to do 3D printing with ABS plastic. Don't know. I don't know enough about it. I tried looking on the internet and couldn't find anything about it that said, yeah, they're 3D printing these. In fact, you can find almost nothing. Now, if I was Japanese and I was searching in Japanese, I might be able to find more, because a lot of the Gunpla pages are in Japanese. If anyone knows for sure, let us know, because it'd be interesting. All I know is Bandai does not let anyone in their manufacturing plant to see what they are doing. That's not surprising, to be honest with you. And again, you can see there's a ball joint there, there, and there, and they're definitely molded on the sprue. There's no way that's not molded on the sprue by looking at that right there. And it could be 3D printed. I don't know. And it's got some weird marks on it. You can even see the weird marks on the edges of the sprue. It doesn't look like a normal sprue at all. And there are some pin marks on it. I found a pin mark right here. So that makes me really wonder what they're doing, because there are pin marks in places on this thing. Yeah, there's another one there and another one there. So whatever they're doing, if it is 3D printed, they are ejecting it out with a push pin. And I don't think they would be doing that if it was 3D printed. So they've got to be doing something else. I will talk to you guys later. Let's go over all the joints that are on this thing. This is the ankle joint right here, and you can see it does move. Okay. This is the hip joint right here. You can see I'm moving that with my finger. It's kind of hard to do some of these one-handed. The knee joint is right here. All right. That's the knee joint. I don't want to do anything else. I'm going to put all the parts on it, because I think that might be stressing the joints too much. I just want to show you guys, yes, this thing's jointed off the sprue, and I'm beginning to think I know what they're doing. I think they're doing a two-part injection process. They do an injection, then they lube the parts down, and then they do the second injection. And the lube is keeping the plastic from forming on top of the new parts. That might be what they're doing, as I really don't think these are 3D printed. I find pin marks on there. And again, why would you have pin marks on a 3D printout? That doesn't make sense. All right, well, I'm going to get going on this leg. If I see anything strange, unique, fun, I'm going to stop and show it to you. Okay? So I will be back in a little while. We're here to talk about a couple of things. This leg is mainly done. See that little silver dot right there? That's a part that slips over another part, and I lost one of those. The carpet in here is heavy shag. So what do you do to get that fixed? To find that little part, you get the vacuum cleaner and vacuum the rug and then take out all the dirt. I have a bagless vacuum, so it makes it a lot easier to do. Now, I stopped for a minute because I want to show you guys some stuff. People like putting Gundam kits together for a couple of reasons. One, they're posable. Two, the parts fit together just beautifully. Okay, there was a gap there. That's because I hadn't quite pressed the part in because some paint was fresh. But if I press the parts down, these parts are highly engineered and they just snap together. And you can tell that they are engineered just to fit together perfect right here. I mean, look at the other leg. You can see it. Another thing Bandai does, do you see any gate marks on any of these parts? They can be found, but you have to look really hard for them, because Bandai engineers the parts so the gates are on the inside. I'm about to show you that. That's why we started recording. We are on step C03-6, the top half of the leg. And I'm going to get part G218 and C10. Okay? Here's frame C. Part C10 is right here. Now, take a look at those attachment points. They are small. Very, very small. Okay? I'm not going to cut these things one-handed. It looks like my camera is not focusing for some reason. I have to figure this camera out some. It's autofocus is something of a joke at times. There we go. It's because I'm in too close. But anyhow, it might be better if I go out and then start zooming in. Yeah, that's what I had to do in the past. Alright, you can see there's tiny little attachment points on there. Okay? The other part I'm looking for is G2, 21, 23, and 18. Okay? They're right here. And you see those attachment points are right on the edge. And they just fit together so tight you don't even see them. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut these parts off and just show you what we're talking about here. Alright, back in a little bit. Everyone, I just snipped them from the sprue and you see how tiny those attachment points are? They're pretty easy to clean up. And you want to be careful when you're cleaning up the attachment points on a Gundam model. Especially if you don't plan on painting it. If you're going to paint it, then go for it. Just sand it off, primer it, and paint it. And that's what a lot of people do, because they don't have to worry about being precise with their cleanup on the attachment points. But the same parts are right up here at the top. And you can see that the parts fit so tightly together that if you're careful, you're not going to see them. I can see one right here I wasn't 100% careful with. But again, if you're careful, you won't even notice they're there. And, yep, and you can see I was a little heavy-handed right there. But you gotta know what you're looking for to see them. And that's why people like these things so much. Let me go ahead and clean these up. Now, I can't clean them up on camera. I forgot part of my tripod, and it's not near me right now, and I'm not going to go get it. So I'm not going to clean them up on camera. But a lot of the time, I scrape it with my fingernail, being honest. Because they'll scrape up pretty good with my fingernail. I use my knife and very carefully slice them. Kind of like that. In fact, I cleaned that one up completely. Okay? And a lot of the time, the attachment points are in places like this, which are underneath other parts anyhow. I don't really have to clean that up. But I am going to clean it up because of the way the parts fit together. If you don't clean it up, you might have trouble fitting the parts together. So you do have to clean these up. But I'll be back in a little bit and I'll show you the end result. But I very carefully trim them with the knife. Sometimes I'll scrape them with the back side of the knife. And sometimes I'll just scrape them with my fingernails. Alright, back in a bit. There's an attachment point right at the front of this one right here that I cleaned up solely with my fingernail. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it came out pretty darn good for just using my fingernail. And a lot of times, again, I will clean those attachment points up just with my fingernail. And you can see where the attachment points are if you look really hard. On this one, you're not even going to know they were there because it goes inside this part here. Alright, I'm going to put this together because I don't have many parts left on the second leg. And then I may or may not do the torso today. It depends. I gotta go down and talk to the wife. I'll be back in a bit. Oh, we got both leg units done. I need to do a little bit more on them for weathering and stuff, but I'm not going to do it now. These beads on the spring, I figured an easy way of dealing with them. I'm going to show you guys that when we get to more of them, because these beads are all over this model. In fact, here you go. You can see I have not even dented them. And there is an easy way of dealing with them. Oh boy, I see something I can't do in the future with them. They are not all symmetric. And the same runner doesn't have symmetric beads on them. Oh joy, that means pulling them off one at a time and putting them in a specific order. Well, at least I caught that before I did any other work. And what I mean is this. If you look at this set right here, this one's square, this one's square, this one's square, this is trapezoidal, trapezoidal, trapezoidal. So you have to keep these little guys in the order they are on the sprue,
or you're going to run in trouble. You don't have to with the legs. They're all square on the legs. But these little ones, no, they're not all square. So be very careful with them. I'll detail that when I get there, and I'll show you how to pull them off one at a time and clean them up. All right, I got the waist left, step 4. I'm probably going to do step 4 today, simply because it won't take me too long. One thing I just noticed, it tells you what sprues you need at the beginning of the step. I need sprue A, B, and D for this. So, and this worries me a little bit. I'll come back and let you know what's up with this. Okay? So I'll be back in a little bit.